Since the beginning of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the Kremlin has been improving its methods of recruiting citizens for the war. In the spring of 2023, the Russian government adopted amendments to the law on military service. They provide for the creation of electronic registers of conscripts. In April, the authorities announced that it would start working on October the 31st, and on November the 1st, conscripts would receive summonses through the state electronic portal Gosuslugi.
The unified register will contain all information about military registration and about citizens who are subject to it, including data on the delivery of summonses. In addition to the Ministry of Defense, the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the Federal Security Service, the Federal Tax Service and other agencies will have access to it. The summons will be considered delivered 7 days after its publication in the register. After the summons is sent, the conscript will be automatically prohibited from leaving the country. If a conscript fails to appear at the military registration and enlistment office within 20 days, he will be prohibited from registering as an individual entrepreneur, obtaining a foreign passport, conducting real estate transactions, and becoming self-employed, from a publication by the Moscow Times.
The Kremlin is also offering incentives to attract future military personnel. On July the 31st, Putin announced an increase in payments to Russian soldiers. Now those who sign a contract with the Russian army by the end of the year and for at least a year will receive a one-time payment of 400,000 rubles. The monthly salary will increase from 204 to approximately 270,000. But as experts note, an increase in the number of people willing to fight in the Russian army is not expected, since there are almost no citizens left who could be attracted with money.
People who have financial problems went to war, and this colossal money that is impossible to earn in few years or even 10 years. Such money was offered to them at the time when people still poorly understood that the price of this money was their life. At that moment, Russia managed to recruit quite a lot of them. Well, plus there are those who generally poorly understand what is happening, because such marginal layers like alcoholics, even drug addicts, were also recruited. Now almost all of these groups have been selected, and there is nowhere to select people from.
In addition to difficulties with recruiting conscripts, Russia has also problems with soldiers already in the army. The main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine knows that in Russia there have been significantly more criminal cases on the fact of buying off military service. Over the past 5 months, their number has tripled in the southern military district. We are talking about bribes for receiving holidays, sick leave, or obtaining the status of partially fit for the army. The department believes that corruption has always been inherent in the Russian army, and the search in criminal cases has other motives.
The main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine emphasizes the level of corruption in the Russian army has always been high. However, previously such cases of bribery were not paid attention to. The recording of such episodes in the form of criminal cases may indicate an increase in the level of demoralization of the personnel of the occupation forces and a threatening trend for Moscow to flee the Russian army by any means. From the message of the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine on Telegram.
Let us remind you that the category of citizens that the Kremlin considers as potential conscripts are migrants. In January 2024, Putin signed a decree according to which foreigners who went to the war against Ukraine will receive Russian citizenship. On July the 30th, the State Duma came out with an initiative to increase the length of service for foreigners from 1 to 2 years. It has also purposed to increase the draft age for migrants. In addition, the State Duma passed a law according to which registration for military service is now a mandatory condition for obtaining Russian citizenship. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Andriy Dmitrenko, UATV News.